Hey, and welcome to the Deliberate Exchange. My name is Chelsea, and I'm so glad that you're here listening. This is part 4 of a 4-part series that I've been doing, kind of clocking the trajectory that my life has taken from, we'll say roughly 2019 to now, 2026. And so this part is about like what my life actually looks like now. Now, if you have listened to parts 1 through 3, and I hope that you have, if you haven't, I'll link it in the show notes below, you might have a thought that says like, okay, so she figured it out. She got to the other side. Life must be perfect now. And that's not it. It is absolutely not the case. We are not dealing with perfection here. There is still work to be done, of course. But I think what people get wrong about being on the other side is that the work stops. That you arrive somewhere and suddenly it's easy, that you never struggle, that you never have intrusive thoughts, that you never feel stress again. That is not the reality here. The reality is that the work becomes different. It becomes more precise, more intentional, and you get better at meeting yourself inside of it. So, what does my life actually feel like now? It feels alive. I feel everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the super uncomfortable, the beautiful. And of course, I'm still learning how to hold all of it, like with precision, with care, because before I felt so fucking empty. Like life wasn't worth much. There was no real incentive to do more or try to be more because underneath of it all, I thought that I didn't deserve it. And I think that's one of the biggest shifts here is like, I do now. I believe that I deserve to feel good. I believe that I deserve opportunities and all the goodness that could come my way. I thought it'd be helpful to kind of go into like some of the day-to-day and how that feels. So mornings then versus now, quite different, obviously. Before, my mornings were slow, and a lot of people want slow mornings, but mine were slow for all the wrong reasons. I was absolutely exhausted, hitting snooze over and over and over again. Of course, trying to recover from the night before, tired from drinking, tired from the stress I was holding, tired from how I was living. And the second I opened my eyes, like I was reaching for something outside of me, scrolling, checking, searching, hoping something would wake me up or make me feel different. But instead, like there was always a sense of dread. Like what was going to go wrong today? What am I going to drop? What am I going to mess up? What trouble am I going to get into? Versus now, my mornings are still slow, but of course for completely different reasons. I started my own self-energy. I breathe for at least 15, 20 minutes. I read, I journal, I move. And it creates this feeling of control, of autonomy and flow. I wake up to one alarm and I am excited about my day. Not because everything is perfect, but because I trust myself inside of it to handle literally whatever comes my way. I thought it'd also be helpful to talk about like what's different in my body, because I don't think that I talk about this part enough, but like I can feel myself now, which that sentence on its own sounds really weird. So let me add some context. I can feel when I eat food that doesn't support me almost immediately. I can feel tension building in my body instead of just pushing through it and ignoring it. And then I'm able to soften. I am able to release it. I'm able to come back to my baseline. And that baseline now feels like calm, open, receptive, steady. Like I don't have to try and search for those feelings, or they're not foreign to me, because like I live that in a pretty consistent way. What's also great about what I feel now and who I am now is if I do take a misstep or I have a lapse And I'm not talking about in the sense of alcohol, but in the sense of like anything that I really want to do. If I have a lapse or a hard day, I know exactly how to get back and quickly. And that makes me feel super fucking resourced, so proud, and so in control. When you can precisely identify where you need to direct your energy and attention and take aligned action, like that feels really, really good. Like that is what strength feels like. Now, shifting gears into like what is no longer my reality, because of course, like I've talked about how like I don't drink anymore. Like, that is of course a big part. But kind of on the internal level, what used to be my normal is feeling constantly overwhelmed. I constantly felt behind or like I was going to be found out, like that classic imposter syndrome. I was reactive instead of responsive. I outsourced literally everything. I hated myself. I hated my life. I would spiral for months on end over like big and small things. I was drinking to fill the space between everything. Like that became a stopgap between work and not work, between noise and silence, between feeling and not feeling, like just constantly escaping from it all. And that is absolutely no longer my reality. And of course, like I still deal with shit. Life still lives. And this I want you to really listen to, because this doesn't disappear. I have said a lot, and I know this to be true, that like life is going to happen. Good people are going to die. Bad things are going to happen. And it's how you work with that that makes the difference. Of course, I still get stressed. Of course, I am still hard on myself sometimes. I still think I should be further along. I still have moments of doubt. Even with all the evidence in my life of people showing up for me, supporting me, loving me, of all the things that have gone right, there are still moments of like, why do I deserve this? And I still like hold really tightly to specific outcomes that I have created in my mind. I can still default into the concept or like the thought that says it must be hard, fast, and intense. But the difference is that isn't actually my default. It's just that they're quieter, they're shorter, they're less convincing. But to get to that point, I had to build different skills. I had to get different tools. None of how I live now or how I feel is by accident. I had to learn how to sit with my feelings without making them mean something that they don't. I had to start learning how to catch things early before they become full spirals. I had to learn how to redirect myself back to a baseline. I had to breathe better on a mechanical level, like not just take a deep breath, but actually understand how to shift my physiological and emotional state with precision, I might add. I had to learn how to keep promises to myself, especially the small ones, and then track them so I had evidence that I can take forward into the next day. I had to learn the difference between objective truth and the stories that my mind was being really creative at making. And the tools that I actually use on a day-to-day basis, like they're not complicated, but they are so dialed in and so consistent. I breathe every day. In the morning, I have midday resets. I have breath work before calls. I have breath work for evening, like down regulation. I go deeper into breathwork journeys weekly. Another big tool is movement. I walk, I lift, I do qigong, I journal, like getting everything out of my head and onto a piece of paper. I love voice note journaling also. Like if you haven't tried that, highly recommend. Just turn the voice notes app on your phone, hit record, and just do like a walk and a stream of consciousness, like brain dump. It is so cathartic. And I also, like one of the tools that I use is HALT. Am I hungry, angry, lonely, tired? because a lot of what we think is emotional is physiological. And if I can solve for that, that makes me finding the solutions for something else a lot easier. And so who am I now? Like, I am resourced. I make decisions from myself and a degree of self-trust and in something greater, and not from survival. I know that survival energy will always have us prioritizing comfort over growth. I am the person who takes responsibility for my actions, my patterns, and sometimes too much. And I'm still working at refining that, but I absolutely no longer abandon myself. And which all of that means that what's available to me on a daily basis is a sense of real peace, of autonomy and choice, of feeling fulfillment and pride in everything that I do and how I serve my communities. I have self-trust, and I have a deep knowing that without a doubt, I can handle my life. And also, like, my relationships are real now. They are not surface level. They're not performative. I have energy because I am not constantly depleted. I have time because I'm not fighting myself all day or the exhaustion that I had put myself through. And of course, like, to get to this point, there was a cost. I had to let go of everything that I thought I was before. I had to let go of all the belief systems and identities that I had carried before. I had to stop needing to be perfect or to be right or to get it right the first time. I had to let go, and I had to learn how to face failure and trust myself and move without knowing. I had to stop outsourcing everything. Outsourcing just means you're putting your happiness, your fulfillment, everything to make you feel good into the hands of others or other experiences. And so I had to learn how to stop outsourcing that, because that's really convenient to make what's wrong with your life everybody else's problem or everything else's problem. But when you take personal responsibility for that and own it all, life becomes a lot easier. I also had to stop chasing external validation as a measure of success and all the vanity metrics of success, like money and cars and titles and all that kind of shit. That does not mean success for me now. I think that a lot of people think that what it takes to get to this point is time, certainly one of them, right? Time heals all wounds. That's not true. Or that it requires more thinking or more information. And time, thinking, information, all really good things, but they aren't what it takes to get to this particular level. You don't have to wait until you're ready or until you feel motivated. It doesn't take you being harder on yourself. None of that works. What it actually takes is surrender, is letting go of what you think you know and what you think you should do. It requires humility. It requires you being willing to say, I don't know, show me, help me, and trusting that the right support will meet you when you're ready for it. What I would really want for you to understand from all this is that even now, there are moments where I feel out of my depth, where it feels like I am absolutely not making progress. But the difference is I now have a framework where I can zoom out. I can look at everything that I have built and everything that I have changed. And I do not let a moment define the whole thing. And where this is learned is, of course, not this was not figured out on my own. I learned this through other people, through shared experiences, from expanding my community and my network. I learned it from my coaches, my mentors. I learned it from people who were willing to show me what actually works in like true, like embodied senses, which is what makes me so happy to do this work and know that I'm like really good at it, because I can show other people this is what worked for me. It might not 100% all work for you. You might not all land, but like this is what worked for me. And I have the proof to show like this is what I did and this is the result. All of this is not about becoming someone perfect, but it's about becoming someone who can hold their life in totality, in like the whole spectrum of human experience. And if you're thinking and listening to this and saying like, I want that, just know that it is available to you too. And if you need direction on like what the first step would be best, or like if you want any more information about what I've shared in this episode, let me know. Because like I know that sometimes like it just takes, you know, maybe a certain thing or a certain phrase or something you hear, and like maybe you've heard it a couple of different times or hundreds of times, and then finally it lands, like the correct amount of circumstances and things that you've learned and experiences that you've had have all fired together to get you to the point where like, okay, shit, like that makes sense. So if you need any direction in that, I'm here to help. I do a lot of this actually in the deliberate practice, which is the monthly rhythm that I have, where people get private podcasts, they get weekly breath work, they get the monthly breath work as well. And we go deeper into so many of these subjects and how to create the life that feels really deliberate and feels like it's your own. Okay, I think I'm starting to ramble, so I will wrap it up. Please share, please like this episode. I pour my heart, my energy into this, and it would mean a lot for you to leave a review if you loved it. And in the meantime, breathe it in, be deliberate, and please be good to yourself. We'll catch you on the next one.